This video is part 3 of a 5-part series on the advertising and promotion industry. Now, in this video we want to talk about two things. We want to talk about types of agencies and also the payments that are made to the agents. The types of agents, the first part, is just a brief run across the different types of agents that exist, and this will be the subject matter of a separate video or set of videos which I'll refer to later on. And then in the second part we'll look at the payment systems that are made within the industry. So let's look at the advertising agencies to start. Now, the types of advertising agencies, well, there's a full service agency, and the name seems to suggest what it does. It offers a full service. It ranges from start to finish. It interviews the client, looks at the product, looks at the service, looks at the issues, looks at the benefits to the customer of having this particular product or service, looks at the outlets it can use for its promotions, and offers a full service. It develops the advertising campaign, it makes recommendations to the marketing section about how they go about their marketing efforts. It's a full service. So that's one type. A second type is what's known as a creative boutique. And a creative boutique is one in which there is perhaps a campaign, an advertising campaign. There is material, there is marketing effort going into the promotion of a particular product or service. However, that can be tweaked. It can be improved upon, and suggestions for improvements and alterations to the campaign can be recommended, and this will come through what's known as creative boutiques, who can pick up on the particular method of presentation and tweak it, make it more sensitive to market requirements, and make some suggestions and improvements, and in that way improve the marketing and advertising effort. There's also a media buying service. This is when the clients already have a campaign in mind, they have the material, but they now need to place the material in front of the customers. And to do this, they will perhaps engage the services of a media buying agency. The media buying agency will have contacts within, let's say, the national press, the local press, radio, television, magazines, and so on, and they will be able to get good terms and good presentation terms for the clients. Clearly they must be compensated for this, and there's a payment to them, which we'll deal with in a few moments in this video. But nonetheless, the media buying service selects the most appropriate channel for the presentation of the material. There's also interactive agencies. These are ones that they interact with the clients, so they are contemporary with the product and the developments of the product and the ideas that the management or the clients have in mind for the products and where they want to be. But they also have a good feel for the market and understand the changes in the market, consumer tastes, and what the rest of the industry is doing. And they're able to go between the two and ensure that there is some sort of consistency in view between the clients on the one hand and what's happening within the market on the other. So they are much more interactive. They interact with, in a sense, the two parties involved, but ensure that there is a consistency, that there is a logic in what has been proposed and the way it's been done. In-house agencies, well, there are, in a sense, two types here. One is in-house agencies in which personnel from the agency will work closely with the clients and perhaps work within the clients' organizations to get a good understanding of the product, how it's produced, its attributes, its functionality, its design, so that they're able to present a very sleek image of the product, and also of the quality of the product. So they may work hand in hand with the clients, within the client's institutions or companies or work areas. Or alternatively, they may work on their own within their own area, but simply seek a lot of information, technical information, commercial information, and look at the way in which the product can be presented successfully. So in-house agencies, they could be operating entirely within their own framework and simply getting in the information that they require to do the job, or they may put teams into the client's workplace to collect data, process the data into information which can be used, work alongside the production personnel, or talk to the production personnel and the marketing personnel within the organization to get a feel for the type of customers that the product is currently attracting, looking at the innovations that are being proposed, and also using their own expertise to gauge the innovations within that segment of the market that they're familiar with, perhaps from other clients. So that's another route or way in which the agencies may work. As I said, these are discussed in separate videos, and it's wise to pick those out, the types of agencies classes. So look out for those and make your own notes and fill out what I've just been saying. What I've just said here is a very brief, just want to plant the idea in your head, different types of agencies, and very generally what they do. A much more detailed discussion available in those other videos. Now, however, let's turn to the types of remuneration and payment that the agencies can expect. And here we can look at agency compensation plan for a start. An agency payment plan works on a commission or markup basis. So the agency payment plan, as I said, could be commission or markup, and we'll talk about both of these. So let's start with the commission methods. Well, commission is the agency looking at the amount that the client is spending on the, say, advertising campaign, and then charging a commission on that. So it's, in a sense, it's quite a simple calculation. It works out what it needs to charge on the basis of what the clients are spending. So they work out the amount that's going to be spent and add a percentage, and that's the method of payment for the agency. It could be on a markup basis. A markup is again quite simple. The agency do the work of developing the campaign for the clients, and in developing the campaign they will expend resources, both human and non-human, and this will incur costs for the agency. Now they simply work out the costs they have incurred and add a markup charge. So they work out their costs, and then they add on a percentage to the costs, and that is their return for that particular work. So that's the compensation method. It could be a fee, by the way. I should have mentioned that. In fact, there are a couple of others. The fee system. This is when the agency simply charges a fee. It's as simple and as crude as that. They think about the work. They think about what's required from the clients. They think about the sophistication of the product and the campaign that's about to be waged, and they issue a fee. It's not based on markup. It's not based on what they're spending. It's not based on the commission either, that the amount of the campaign or the extent of the campaign. It's just simply a fee that they work out and they're happy to work with. So it's a fee that they levy. It's a one-off fee to the clients. So it's a certain sum, and if the clients accept, that's it. They have an agreement. It could be pay for results plan, which is very similar to the other methods in the sense that it's related to the success of the campaign. So it's similar in the sense that it's a percentage that's added on. In this case, it looks at the success of the campaign and issues a percentage based on that. So it looks at how many more of the product is sold as a consequence of the campaign and makes its charge based on that. Clearly it will have to know the success of the campaign, so it may need access to sales figures from within the company. So there would have to be a degree of openness on the part of the company to show how successful or otherwise the campaign was. If the company is prepared to do that, then they could pay for results. It's similar to the others in the sense that it's a calculation, whereas the fee system is just a figure that's given at the start. The markup is a more calculated one based on the resources that are used up, and the commission one is looking at the extent of the campaign and issuing a figure on the extent of the campaign. Payment by results is much more nitty-gritty. It means that the agency go inside the company in a sense and look at the sales figures and sees how successful the campaign has been and makes a claim based on the success of the campaign. Agency compensation plan. Well, commissions are the most common approach used by agents. So commission is very popular. It's how big is the advertising campaign, how much is involved, and then a commission based on that. And it's very easy to calculate. It's very straightforward, and probably that's why it's so popular. The commission system is based on the amount of money spent on advertising by the advertiser. That's how it's worked out. The advertiser has a big campaign, there's more commission. Small campaign, less commission. It's very straightforward. Figures vary here. One figure that's commonly quoted is 15% of the total amount is retained by the agency for creating the media and advertising. So the agency look at the amount that's to be spent and say it takes 15% for its work in developing the campaign, in placing the advertisements and material in front of the customers, and 15% is often quoted. It may not be 15%. I think it probably is more a matter of negotiations, and it may vary significantly from one business to the next and from one client to the next. So, but that's a figure it just came across. The fee system. Well, a fee system is a fixed hourly rate agreed for different services provided by the agency. It's a fee. They just come up with a fee and they say they work out how many people are going to work on the particular campaign, what's involved, and they work out a figure based on the extent of their involvement in the campaign. Of course, the fee will also have to allow for profits and risks and all the overheads of the agency as well. The system can be based on salaries within departments and paying for additional external services used for the final campaign. They may use salaries as a base for the calculation. But if they were more sophisticated, they might want to work out what their overheads are and how much profit they want to see or return on their investment in terms of the commitment they're making. It depends on how sophisticated they want to be. If it's a quick calculation, they might work out how many people are going to work on this, how much do the people have to be paid, what additional resources are required, and that gives a rough figure. And then they add on a certain percentage to try and cover the other issues such as profitability, overheads, transport, all the other bits and pieces that goes with running a business. Pay for results plan. Well, this type of compensation plan is based on performance related pay. Well, it's a bit like performance related pay. It's instead of paying the operators for the amount they produce, this is paying the agency for the results that it produces. So the clients here pay the agency for the results that they've produced in terms of the campaign and the success of the campaign. But it's very similar in its calculation to performance related pay. The more that they produce, the better the results they produce, the more they get. Agency fee is based on agreed results, and the agency is expected to achieve their performance targets in order to receive compensation. So the agency fee is based on agreed results. They agree with the clients that there should be a certain increase as a result of their activities, a certain increase in sales as a result. If they don't achieve that, they don't get paid. But if they achieve it and perhaps achieve more than what they've promised, they will get extra. They will get it's like a bonus. They will get extra payment because they have been so successful, and that would be worked out in a contract, and it would be carefully calculated. It would obviously require the scrutiny of accountants and experts in the area. But once it's agreed, then the agency have an incentive to work hard on the campaign to bring in a successful campaign, because the more successful it is, the more they get paid. It's a new approach, a relatively new approach in terms of payment for agencies within the advertising and promotion industry, but it's growing in popularity. It's getting more publicity in the literature, it's getting more exposure in the literature, and from that I think we can deduce that it's becoming more popular. Markup charges. Well, this type of compensation is based on adding a percentage markup charge on services the agency purchases from external suppliers. Again, it's quite a straightforward calculation. The agency, in delivering the campaign for a client, may have to buy in services of others, perhaps technical services to make advertising, electronic advertising material, or it may have to buy in the services of experts in the various channels to be used. For example, experts who can give who will make consultancy fees payable for their services in looking into, let's say, local press, national press, looking at how to position the campaign within the market, the use of billboards, the use of television or internet or whatever it is. So there will be a series of charges that the agency will incur, and they simply make a markup on these. So in that sense it's quite straightforward to do. The agency, however, must ensure that it has covered all of its outgoings. It must make sure that in the calculation it has properly accounted for all of its outgoings, and then levies its markup on that. External suppliers can be just about anybody: photography, art, production, printing, research, and so on. There are many different personnel involved, and these were considered in one of the earlier videos in this particular set of videos. The markup charges are added to these services. So as I said, it's quite a straightforward calculation in some respects. Once all of the outgoings have been properly accounted for, then the markup is levied on those. Again, difficult to put a figure on it, but in the literature figures vary, but it can be 15, 16, 17%. Sometimes figures like 20% are being suggested. But again, don't get too caught up in the figure. 17% is just an indicator. It depends on the negotiations between the agency and the client. The client will want to knock that figure down, and the agency will want to build it up. And there's all the bargaining issues associated between the two. The figures are not, in a proverbial sense, written in stone. They are not absolutes. They are just figures that the industry threw up. So it may vary from client to client. So that's our talk about payment methods for agencies within the advertising and promotion industry. And I mentioned earlier in the video the types of agencies that we can envisage. That's the subject matter of a separate set of videos. But this latter part is just how the agencies can charge for their services, and it's important to know this. So that completes this particular video. That's one of the sources that were used in the preparation of the video. That's all we're going to deal with here, so let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.